is incumbent upon us as individuals who are placed in better circumstances to help in any way that we can. The time to act is now, and we must not wait.
Tell me that when the story of this country started is told, you will have nothing to regret.
Mwabo Odenigwe Chukwuebuka William Ewazo Abum Onitsha Obolieke Umusama Nisaba. To be precise, I wasn't born in Onitsha. I was born in the US. I was born in Baltimore, Maryland. And I like to say I was born in the midst of all of this, in the golden era of the migration.
I think a big impetus for sort of creating the organization, at least in my dad's mind, from my perspective, was really around 1999. And if you remember 1999, this was the first time we went back to, democracy, basically. This is the first time we had Nigeria had a democratically elected leader since.
I, Olusegun Obasanjo,
do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly.
The late 90s ushers in an era of a new beginning. It's kind of poetic because it's the end of a century. We have a lot of those who came in the 70s and 80s beginning to get their feet planted on the ground here in America, starting families, getting career jobs, buying houses, really integrating into the society.
Ato Mbenefo, he was named the UN ambassador, the Nigerian ambassador to the UN here in New York. And I think in general there was just this, which was one of our own. And I think in general there was just this sense of like things are happening, and you want to be able to do things. And I think my dad saw an opportunity to better organize ourselves in the diaspora.
October 1999, the first outing of Peace of Allah.
There was a lot of changes happening, here in Onitsha. In Onitsha, we had Obi Ofala, who was nearing the end of his reign.
Obi Ofala is still alive during that time. Obi Ofala is still alive. During that period, the security in Onitsha is not that good.
I remember the time we would read stories about there are other groups in Nigeria that would get together. Could have been as simple as like an investment group. Oh, we'll pool our money together. We can like build apartments, not for charity, but like build apartments to rent, and like here's this communal investment that's available to the people in the community to try to keep it in the community.
Obi Ofala had passed away, and there was a little bit of a gap, and a lot of things were run by the Ndiches. I remember Ono Umotune was mostly in charge of what was going on, and we used to speak and he will give an update on what he's trying to do for the Onitsha people, and that some things he didn't quite have a handle on because he's not the Igwe. So mostly at that time, things were run by the Red Cap chiefs. So the gap was there, and eventually they went into looking for the next Obi of Onitsha. So it was a transition time, if you want to call it that.
Change is happening in that time period. So I feel like that time period was very prevalent to the migration on us coming here because, with all that's going on, it kind of put a battery in people's backs to want to, really think about home.
If you look around, you will see gentlemen who are opportune to be initiated into Agbaland Society of Onitsha. These are men of integrity, and they came all the way from United States of America. They have come to grace the occasion because one of them, Mr. Ifeanyi Enwezu, is being initiated into this prestigious society, and they are very glad to be here, body and soul. They are happy with him and are wishing him well, saying that can live a normal.
You know that I took the other title the same year your dad took the other title, right? 2002. But at that particular time, I took the other title December 7 and 8 and 9. It looked like 2002 was a floodgate. A lot of people took the other title, especially from America. And that's it, that year.
2002 was kind of an explosion, especially from those abroad. My dad took the Ozo 2002 with his brothers. And that was actually the first time I went to Onitsha.
We have a community of helping others. That's how we grow up. If you climb higher, you help your brother to come. And you climb higher, you go more, you help your brother and sister to come.
Every person, every Onitsha man happens to be a real Onitsha person who will always aspire to become another titled person. That's one of the things. Growing up, we see our parents, our grandparents, some of them taking the title, and we want to be like them. And Onitsha man is always very proud of themselves when they see their family members taking the other title, and that used as an inspiration to make them aspire to be like their fathers, their forefathers, and their people before them. So when I made it, I knew that my dad took the other title, right? So that became an inspiration for me to aspire or look forward to taking the other title.
Let's say to Anna so boom. So now yeah, go. Oh, can I me no. Oh, the CK.
I grew up that same culture, and already I know how my dad will go to Lozo and they'll bring the goat meat, and we'll first go for the goat meat, and that's You see, we try to do that now, but it's not the same because we don't need the money, we don't need the goat meat. Yeah. But then we need it. You see, but we try to do all those things now.
Culturally, I like Onitsha. I'm from Onitsha. Even Chana Samusoso. After school, I used to go to Nigeria every year until I started working. Then I worked for some time, didn't go to Onitsha, but I continued. Ever since then, every year I go to Onitsha. The time I took a break was when my mother died. My mother died in 2000, and after her burial, I stayed back for some years, because I felt like, there was nothing there again for me. But as God may have it, you heal, whatever comes to you, eventually you're going to get healed, So we healed, and with the help of my senior brother, I talk about him Nabenyi again. Nabenyi was going to take his title, and he decided, all of us was going to do it. Nothing stops him from doing it by himself. You understand? So he took all of us. We went back and, took a title. And from then, I've never missed Onitsha, going to Onitsha every year.
Now we have made the money, like you said, we're able to go home. So we are trying to identify ourselves with our culture in Onitsha. That's why we are going home to do all this, and still maintain our status over there. I'm assuming Nigeria is what we dreamt will be. You know what I mean? I don't, I didn't think that I would be anywhere else except Nigeria, but because the situation in Nigeria doesn't warrant it, that's why we're here, and we're still here.
We only have three things in mind. Three things in mind as a local boy. You have a wife, children, you have a house in your village, and you take the other title. That's it. So that is how we roll.
Because of the fact that some of us have made it, succeeded, worked hard in America, and we were able to think and remember home, where we came from.
At that time, we didn't think too much of it because we were young. We just thought of it as like a utopia. Like our families here, our closest cousins were there. Our dad is here, our mom is here, our uncle is here. Everybody's just having fun.
and we wanted to go back and to continue the traditions of our father, we decided to say, hey, like I told you before, every Onitsha person, real Onitsha person, any real Onitsha man aspires to become an other title. And at any given time, when they have the opportunity to take it, they will do it.
Maybe I stayed and it turned out good for us. It turned out so good for us that not only are we benefiting, the people back home are also benefiting from our stay here. Because what we get, our culture is that no matter where you are, what you get, it's what you bring home that counts. It's like going to work for any company here. You can do whatever you want to do there. It's what you bring home to your household. That's what counts.
It was actually more than just the Ozo for me. It was the first time I had left the country, I'm pretty sure. It was a new world, different from what I know, from waking up to livestock. I'm walking on dirt roads, I'm listening to the generator. There's people, doing ceremonial things outside, It's different. It was a new experience, but it was one of those things that really stuck because it wasn't something that we experienced alone. All my cousins came, and my extended family, they also did the other time, their borders. We all came, and we all live in Baltimore, so we're all taking this big trip to Nigeria. We're all seeing each other, and it's like, oh, we're seeing each other here, we're experiencing this all together. It was a new thing for us. It showed us what Africa was. You go to school, they teach you about Africa and how this is that, but we were able to see it firsthand.
Most of us, like you said, met here in America and became very good friends. And some of us, we support each other, taking the other title when we go home. And when it's not possible for us to attend, we just give them that moral support.
So may the good Lord continue to bless them.
It was something very nice that we were doing. Onitsha was going very fine until we had this 2003, was it 2003 convention? It was the biggest ever in United States. I wish those days will come by again.
When we had our big gala, Onitsha Association organized it for the entire Onitsha people in the U.S. That was the first time when the king, Abu Ogidi, was just almost immediately after his coronation. So he came. We couldn't get a big venue in the Washington, D.C. area per se. We got a hotel in Virginia. That's why sometimes people refer to it as Virginia. But that's where we got the hotel that we used.
Igbo Achebe and some 3 or 4 red cap chiefs were there. See, I remember young then. We made this guy, Onwuta, Dr. Onwuta, the president then.
The members of our national are the ones that were running the show, especially for when Abu Ogidi, the king, came here.
We are the organizers. The hotel people, the manager of the hotel, he came to us and said he haven't seen something like this before. Because the whole rooms were all booked up.
Then everything went it was a grand occasion. Now we never have that again. Because every week we on the ground here, Maryland, DC, and Virginia, we all volunteered to work hard to make it a success. So it was successful, and we raised over $100 and something thousand then.
I remember walking into the ballroom. It was huge. I mean, when I say it was like people were fighting to be there. People, every town had a representation. The Onitsha people were just showcased at our magnificence in that particular convention. It was beautiful.
Memories, oh my God. It was more like back in Onitsha, like Ofala Festival. This is, we display cultures. We talk about the Jele, the masquerade, the Jele masquerade, Akunecheni, it's not just Onitsha people, a lot of non-indigenous, attended.
The tickets were going to be sold, right? The tickets to come to the event. Because it was not only Onitsha people that came. We had to sell tickets for non-Onitsha people, whoever wants to come, whoever your friends, you sell to them. So that's how we raised money. We had our uniforms made, but we had it made in Nigeria by Afatai handled that one. We had our attire made in Nigeria, and Abu Ogidi's sister coordinated that one for me from Lagos. It was a busy weekend and happy one too, because we had people from everywhere, all over the world came, from Nigeria, from Europe, UK.
That weekend was great. A lot of Onitsha people all over the world, they came to that very occasion. Even though Onitsha people from Nigeria, from Onitsha, they were there. The president of Utuodo, the secretary, and her deputy, they were all here.
The convention of 2003 was the epic of all conventions. I advertised for the convention. I told a lot of my friends, and I was able to get at least more than 100 advertisements for the brochure. That was awesome. And a lot of them also came for the convention. The hotels in Crystal City and Virginia were sold out just because of that convention. It was a fun night. We had good food, we had good music, we had the masquerades, and of course, we had the women's dance, and I led the women's dance. And my first daughter, Nneka Nzego, was the one that sang the national anthem at that convention. So everybody is still talking about that convention. It was a fun night to remember.
My memories of the 2003 is that the day before, the day after, I have equal cousin in my house. It was a great thing for me to see all these red kerchief in my house.
I was in charge of transportation. Meet the first lady. As I drove them, and I did a lot of running around. So it's the plaque I got, for the role I played, towards the success of that convention.
I remember Abogidi coming. I remember my dad speaking at the event. I definitely I remember thinking like, oh, this is like, this is in my mind, this was sort of like the culmination of what was the intention, what came about. I think in terms of the actual event, I remember more in terms of like how I felt about it, not necessarily like the specifics. In that year, 2003 was also the year I graduated from college. So it's like I graduated from college, and like now I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing with myself, but still wanting to participate in that way. So I was there, I remember.
Everything was new again, and it was just, we are loving being an Onitsha person in the United States. We are loving because everything now, and the people in Onitsha, people came from Onitsha, came from Lagos, came from Abuja for the event.
The 2003 convention was one for the books. The one time that the whole of Onitsha, people from all states and outside the country, actually came together in a big way. The conventions were getting so popular. I remember my sister-in-law went to buy fabric from me in Lagos, and the woman selling fabric in Lagos asked her if she was buying for somebody going to Onitsha convention in America. That was how much how popular it was.
And that was when Onitsha was its strongest.
Yes, strongest.
And then if you were there, Onitsha was straight on, you were so proud to them. The king was there.
Yeah, king.
With some indici. But they had my uncle, Adazian. This guy who became GA but he was not GA then. The boy, I forgot what he was then. Was there. Usuma. Or the Ujiba. It was Ujiba, was there. Well, no. But it was Ujiba. Was there. So it was really. And then, India balancing were there. I was sent representatives to come. The other representatives wanted to come to the event. So it was like it was Onitsha itself, which is so all right.
I'm going to donate $5,000. $5,000. $2,500. $3,000. $2,500. $3,000. We're soon $1,500 to support people there. I'm going to give $10,000. Thank you. $2,500. $400. People now, $10,000. Yes, $5,000 for Tiel $2,000.
I was 6. I was there. Yes, I was definitely there. I remember going from hotel room to hotel room. You know, this cousin would bring the PlayStation, this cousin would bring the GameCube, the roller from room to room, playing, you know, all these things. I remember them bringing the Masquerades out. I remember going to look for my dad. I was running, looking for my dad because the Masquerades come out to scared. I go to looking for my dad. I'm next to my dad. And I look on the ground and there's a feather on the ground. But I think it actually came off, now that, because I looked off the video, it actually came off my uncle's hat. It was at my uncle's feather. I picked it up and I, showed my dad. And my dad, I'm guessing, is that way to get this phone and takes it from me. And, I tries to go look for it. I remember that he's holding my hand and another uncle comes up to him. And I guess they talk and the uncle's concerned, somebody lost their feather while they meet up. So my dad gave the feather to this uncle. And the uncle was to look for the person who's it was, after watching the video, it was seeming the memory together. It was, I couldn't even that was the uncle that had the feather. That guy that my dad gave the feather to.
Are so happy to see each other. So we have a kind of a brotherly love that very weekend. It's a very remarkable day.
It was very memorable, and I go back to it every now and then. I, put that video, and just visualize, if Onitsha will come back to that 2003 again. It's a wish. I'm wishing. As far as memory, we have some. I have some good memories. Very memorable.
In the year 2000, I became the president of this organization with several goals in mind. But one particular goal, which stood out in my mind, was to make this organization succeed and grow.
After I finished my first 2 years, I was actually willing to have somebody else take over. But people kept saying that they see momentum, that we should continue. And in that process, we should launch the organization at that time. Initially, I didn't think that was what I was cut out to do there. But since they wanted to launch it and felt that I have the ability to do it, I said, okay, I'll take the responsibility.
Today is another first for Onitsha. I say that because I tell you that no town, no village, no city, and no place in the world has attracted this many people from all over the world because it has asked for your help. And that's what you're here today. Welcome again.
We had never seen anything like that before. All hands were on deck. Everybody trying to do what they could to see to the success of the convention. I remember people calling Baju from Germany, South Africa, Poland, all kinds of anywhere that Onitsha people were. They wanted to be part of what was happening in America.
The mission was to advertise our organization, one. Two, was a way to tell the world that we've arrived. When I say we've arrived, I meant it because my goal, personally, was to make the national organization global. It wasn't just for America. We had 13 chapters. And within my time in office, I had created a new chapter in Toronto, Canada, okay, with Mike Wakedi as the interim president at the time. We were trying to set up organizations in South Africa because they were showing interest also. There was also interest from Italy, trying to see how they can create a chapter to join Onitsha Improvement Union America. So our goal was to, again, market ourselves, build coalition, and then move things forward.
That Onitsha, which used to nurture and feed us, with her glistening, brilliant, engaging river called the River Niger, which can be seen from miles away, now has it no more. Onitsha is now filthy, it is overpopulated, where hunger and disease abound. Some members have sent medical supplies to local hospitals and physicians in Nigeria. Our grandmother project is still in progress. Our hope today is to raise enough money for a 5-year plan to build a worthy convention and humanitarian center where we can coordinate our services in our nation. It will include a library, an educational and urgent medical clinic for our people. You here today.
The way we articulated it, to me, it was that we can take over Onitsha for what we have, for the force we can generate here. And there's nothing we could have done then. We could have built roads, we could have built, it was the best opportunity we've ever had.
Abokidi came, one of his first outings after, I think probably his first out of Onitsha big outing was that. It was amazing. It was an amazing thing to have him presiding in that particular event.
2003 it was the highest. It was the highest for Onitsha people in United States. we just enthroned a king that is loved by everybody.
That was probably the first time you ever had a Bugiri come to the U.S. to any of these events, at least that I can remember. So like it was sort of like this culmination of achievement, really.
We have a king that is in a class of his own, very well educated. He had lived in New York here. He was handsome, nice looking. He was the center of attraction. Everybody wanted to see him when he came here.
Every descendant of Ezechiel is entitled to aspire to this too. Every descendant of Ezechiel has entitlement. And in the end, out of all the hundreds and thousands who are qualified, it is God who eventually decides at each particular time who is going to be the responsibility. So I didn't expect more than any other Ezechiel descendant that I expected. I've been in this situation. It's the work of God. We have to accept it that way. We have to do our best to fulfill the mission God has sent for us.
One final question. With your long experience and outside, how were you able to cope with the tradition of the Onitsha people and your job outside?
It's very simple and straightforward. I've never lost touch with my homeland. Never lost touch with my homeland. Not in anybody should never lose touch with his homeland. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you should always be in touch with your origin. That has helped me quite a lot to fit very much into the new responsibility. Very simple.
Thank you very much.
Many thanks.
Thank you.
Your Majesty. Thank you so much. Thank you. How are
social institutions, their laws, and family traditions wherever dispersed around the world. The Anglo-Americans, on the other hand, spread their influence through modern technology and commerce to create the many forms of capitalism that today prevails throughout the world economy. The Japanese are succeeding in modern world system through a conscious spread of temporary corporate sojourners all over the world, aided by modern communication and transportation technology. One may ask, what is common amongst these nationalities of people? These people, along with the Indians and the Chinese and the Filipinos and many more, comprise what Joel Kotkin, in his book Tribes, described as global tribes. The global tribes, according to Kotkin, have effectively combined a strong sense of common origin and shared values. Emphasis, common origin, shared values. That is, their quintessential tribal characteristics with two critical factors of success in the modern world, namely geographical dispersion and a belief in scientific progress.
Our king he lived in New York during his time. So he was one of us. He is one of us. And he bought into what we're trying to do because he saw the possibilities.
The question one may ask is, what prevents Onitsha people from becoming a successful global tribe in our own peculiar, even if smaller way? We appear to have lost focus on our quintessential characteristics. As a result, our homeland, Onitsha, has been declining for a considerable time, and more manifestly since the Civil War. These include encroaching materialism and the sheer monetization of our norms and values, conspicuous consumption and excessive display of wealth, and the worship of money as accessory to rank and status in literally all institutions of our society. Our youths are dropping out of school in significant numbers to become land touts and area boys and girls. Anyhow you look at it, we are surrounded by decadence, armed robbery, poor sanitation, unemployment or underemployment, and moral laxity amongst the youths and their parents. This is a reflection of the situation that I am determined to change if we must restore and uphold the norms and values of our founding fathers.
Now, I realized we didn't have any money, so it was going to be a challenge. Doing the convention was a joyful thing for the Onitsha. I'm not saying it in the sense that it was anything nobody has done before, but it was something we needed to do for ourselves. And to do it for ourselves, we had to make the commitment and put the sacrifice that was involved. It was a lot of work because we've never done it before. And in the process of doing it, we learned a lot. One is communal responsibility and people being consistently reliable in performing what you ask them to do. Those things came up. So it meant that some of our officers worked harder than others. It took a lot of planning because finding the hotels and putting things in place in a remote location was difficult. Even the local chapter president, Anwa Abadum, at the time, he was in Maryland, so it was another travel for him to go there and make all the arrangements. But I did a lot of coordinating. I did a lot of calling. I spent a lot of time on the phone talking to different people. Finally, we found a place in Crystal City where we did the convention. I think it was a labor of love because I felt that Onitsha deserved something like that. For me, it wasn't about whatever accolade or attention I received. I think it was for Onitsha because I believe that Onitsha is the best place in the world and that we're unique people. And if you don't believe in something, there's no need to even try to do anything about it. So that was my view on that issue. It was successful. We booked up the whole room in the hotel. Onitsha people from all over the world came, and it was well attended, and I think he gave us a lot of grace and dignity which we deserve as Onitsha people.
Nasiana